First of all, let's welcoming our state officers that are with us, and you'll be hearing from them, as well as many of our district vice presidents and local networks. So thank you for being here. I want to tell you that our goal today is to dive into what opportunities lie ahead for each of you. You know, as future leaders, it is crucial, I have found, to not just understand what opportunities are available, but also what qualities, what experiences, and also, you know, what are people looking for? So we thought, what better way than to help you understand what that leadership path looks like. This session is all about you. I will tell you, those of us that worked on it from the LID committee, we're focused as we continue under President Natalie's direction to focus on your potential, your leadership growth, and how you can make an impact. So what I'll encourage you is, whether you're already involved in leadership or just beginning to explore what's possible, I mean, we're here to provide insights and answer questions. And as she said, we've provided some documents, and also we'll have a Q&A at the end. Natalie, I'm looking here. Were you able to put in the bit.ly that has all the slides and notes in it in the chat?
I was going to do that a little closer to the halfway mark to make sure
Well,
we
just
get
so you know, we do have that. So as far as taking notes, what I would encourage is, if you have a question or you think of something, write it down, because we're hoping to have 20 minutes at the end to go through and obviously have these experienced leaders give you that insight and information. But what I want you to know is, this is a safe place to learn, grow, and connect. I'm a big believer in my journey that leadership can only occur in a safe place where people have the ability to fail forward. And so know that all of us here are supporting you on your journey. And so what we're going to do is, we're going to step through. We get there. Hold on. I'm like going through my notes here. Okay. So this is what we're going to go through, right? It's about stepping up and leading. And often many of us, especially women, but we have men amongst us too, but women tend to not step up until they feel 99% ready. And I will guarantee you that every single one of the leaders you're going to hear from today would tell you that we said yes before we were 100% ready. We were like, okay, we trust those around us to support us and help us learn. And so as we're going through here, you know, ask yourself if you're qualified, but I also want you to ask a couple other questions of yourself. You know, leadership is not a one-size-fits-all journey. And so as you're thinking through, I want you to think about, what leadership qualities do you already possess? You know, where do you see yourself making the biggest impact? And what steps can you take to prepare for the future? You know, again, I got to tell you, and I'll just speak for myself, leadership isn't about being perfect, or else I would have none of these opportunities that I've had. It's about being willing to grow and to learn and to take action when opportunities arise. So before we start the next section, I just want each of you in the comments to put one word. What does leadership mean to you? Drop it in the chat. Let me check it out. What are we saying? Teaching, courage. Oh, love those words. Who else we got? Listening. It's a good one, Amy. Sharing strengths. Melissa, lifting others up. I couldn't agree more. Elevate. Exactly. So, I mean, that's what all of this is embodied in when we talk about Leaders Made here. So what we want to start out is, we do have several different timelines and opportunities coming up. And what I want you to do is understand what these roles are, because I'm going to ask you a question in the chat right now. How many of you know, like, feel confident you know what the state liaison role is and whether or not you qualify? Or how many of you know what the treasurer job is and whether or not you qualify? Or even the district vice president. What makes a good district vice president? You know, I know, being in women's council the past 6 years, I still am learning and figuring out, you know, and so as you're looking at this, our goal is to help you get a deeper understanding about what that is. And so I'm going to turn it over next to the amazing Charmaine Hickey, who we have the ability to be blessed that she is on her on the national stage, and hopefully she will be representing us as the national treasure. But what we're lucky about having Charmaine here is because, first of all, she's someone that shares, she's an encourager, but she's also held all the positions we're going to talk about today. So at the end, we'll have some phone numbers and resources to follow up if you have questions. But what I want to do now is turn it over to Charmaine to talk a little bit about the state liaison, which is actually coming up. Applications are due and voting will happen first, and then we'll move on to the other things. So Charmaine, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Good afternoon, everyone. So I want to share with you quickly, what does the state liaison position represent? And based on what we have seen for the past few years, state liaison came into play, I think it's 3 years ago. This is our 4th year, Natalie, if I can remember. But the state liaison is the link between the state leadership and the local networks. And the state liaison is really to provide supervision and oversee the district vice president as they connect to the local network. So then you talk about leadership and oversight. I'm going to get to the requirements in a minute, but I want you to understand why the position is important. It's about providing guidance and support to the district vice president and ensure that they are assisting the local network. And I'm going to say this. If you're stepping into the position of state liaison, step into that position because you are ready, willing, and able to assist the district vice presidents to assist their network. So it is not just jumping into the position as a glorified position. It is work. Okay? It's communicating and support. It's helping the local networks to grow through coaching and mentoring. So I'm going to jump to the member responsibility and requirement. Now, I know that previously the application that was sent out, we had to review that document to make sure that it fell in line with national guidelines. I'm looking at the information here, and what we have done is just to make sure that it consistently aligned with national. We have had to do minor changes. One thing I want to tell you is that you do not need to be a district vice president to apply for state liaison. Again, you do not need to be a district vice president to apply for the position of state liaison. We're going to be sending you all the information. I think Cindy had the detailed application on the system, and I want you to give us a call. We will go through it and guide you on how do you move from the position that you're in. If you meet all the criteria, you need to look at it carefully. Criteria, qualification. Once you meet those criteria, then you can apply for the state liaison. It's about accountability. And I find that in this position, accountability is very important because you are now reporting to the executive line. And the executive line is going to depend on the state liaison to keep them abreast of what is happening in the local network. Another thing I'm going to say, we've been getting a lot of calls to say that you must be on the executive line or you must have served as a state president to be a state liaison. If you look at previous state liaison, we had Debbie Z and Beate. They were not state president. So I want you to wipe that out totally. You do not need to be in that position or served in that position to apply for state liaison. We welcome every voice. We want the state liaison coming in just to be open to jumping on a team, making your voice be heard, and taking the local network and the district vice president voice to the executive line so that you can come up with a strategic plan for the growth of the state. So there's a lot more information there that Cindy wants us to cover, but I'm not going to go through all the detail. But just to know, if you go into this position, you have mentors, you have coach who will help you to be successful in this position. So if you have any questions, we'll take question at the end. But right now, I'll turn it back over to Cindy. And there's so much other information, but I just wanted to cover the basic with you. And can I tell you, I enjoyed serving as the, district vice president was my favorite, but then I love the state liaison position. And another thing that I've been hearing, you must have a connection with national. You do not need to have a direct line or a connection with national because you have a national liaison who you serve under. All right. So I hope that answers some of the questions that I got on my phone. So Cindy, I'm sorry I didn't cover everything that you wanted me to cover, but it's there. And I hope if you have questions, just give me a call.
Thank you, Charmaine. I think the fact that you've done the job and people can ask more questions. I know whenever we're applying for stuff, it's great to hear kind of that conversation. And so that's a great start. I do just want to make you all aware that applications and a consent to serve are all part of any position. And so again, in the comments, you're going to see that there is an email that you can email if you are interested in applying and for the state liaison position. Applications are due by April 4th, so you still have a couple of weeks. And then from there, it goes to candidate screening on April 8th. From there, they will confirm that the people that's put in the consent to serve in their application, whether they meet those requirements that are in detailed list on the bit.ly link that you see there. Each position is defined and the requirements are in there in detail. If you do, then there'll be a notification process and a special election. Please, all network presidents and DVPs and people that are serving on a voting member of the governing board, we will be having a special election on May 20th at noon, and it should be less than 30 minutes, but we will be voting on the state liaison. It is the first role that gets elected each year. So again, thank you, Charmaine, and I'm sure people will have more questions.
Just quickly, if you're going to apply for this position, knowledge is power. You must make sure that you understand the foundation of governance and network operations for Women Council. So you need to go read up and understand everything about the council and our strategic plan.
Absolutely. And I think that on top of that, many of you may, but if you haven't, and we'll put the link, it's in that document, to the Florida link tree, but it can be your best friend. Really dive in. What are the roles? What are the time frames? What are the things in there as well is really helpful. So thank you, Charmaine, and hang in there for questions later if people have them. Next, I would like to I'm trying to talk and I'm muted. Sorry. I was going to say thank you so much for that, Charmaine. And now we're going to turn it over to our wonderful state treasurer, Mindy Ravillo, to talk about the treasurer, same things. What does it take? Am I qualified? And what are those responsibilities? So, Mindy, I'd love to hear from you about your experience and any encouragement you have.
Cindy, and thank you very much for these slides. They're very helpful. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for your time and attending today. And I just want to go over the treasurer qualifications. You must be a member in good standing of the Women's Council for at least 2 years. Experience, you must have past state or local network leadership experience and served on state network committee. Also, it helps a lot if you have had the treasurer position at your local network. The designation, the PMN designation is encouraged. I am currently working on my PMN. I do not have it yet, but I will before I get this line, if that's at your pleasure. But that will be required. You'll also be required to have served as a president and president-elect of your local network. So the treasurer position has been a great learning experience. It's very, very different from, well, it's a lot like your local network, but on a much larger scale. And so that's why I say if you serve as your network, you've been a network treasurer, or if you just work closely with them, it's going to help you greatly if you decide, if you're looking at your qualifications for state line treasurer. Responsibilities include you're automatically the chair of the Finance and Budget Committee. Again, a very important committee because you're constantly looking at our financial policies. You're looking at ways to protect our money, to grow the money. And we've made some great strides with Catherine Sakis before me in putting our money to work, which is fantastic. As far as preparing the annual network budget, let me go back to the budget and finance for a second. You're required to report quarterly, the quarterly financials to the committee. It can be done through email, of course, but that is one of the requirements. There's kind of a time, you have to keep some time there so you stay on schedule with those responsibilities. As far as the annual network budget, that really should be reworded, and I know that's how it reads, but the state president really weighs in heavy, the incoming on their budget. And I think the treasurer needs to be familiar and work with that incoming president to answer questions or clarify things as they're putting the budget together. That is kind of a concert that you do together. Maintaining the financial records. Every month, we go over the bank statement with Renee. A lot of you I know are using Renee. She's fantastic. And then we make sure we can match up the transactions with the category or the bucket the expense or income falls in, very much like your local network. And of course, maintain all the financial records and chase down the receipt accordingly. Strategic partnerships. I have to defer there. Lori Ann's done that this year, and I haven't done much there. So thank you, Lori Ann. If I need to be doing something, you can call me later and tell me what I need to do. But it's been a great experience being part of this leadership team. We are very cohesive, and I hope the local networks can feel it because there's been an emphasis under Natalie to really become more, I want to say, approachable, more transparent and inclusive. And I think those are 3 very important words. If you want to serve for there's 2 positions on the state line you can serve for. You can, and that is treasurer and first vice president. The first vice president, Catherine, has really, really, really helped me this year in growing in this position. And it's my opinion that you really miss a lot of the meat and potatoes of the council if you don't go through the treasurer position. It's a fantastic learning opportunity. It really is. And I really enjoyed it. And I'm available to any of you to answer any questions. Obviously, you do work with your network treasurers and they have questions about, filing their taxes, where they get the forms. And I know we talk about it all the time, but when it comes time to do it, the questions come. It's not hard. There is a time requirement, but I highly encourage anybody that feels like they would be good in the role to definitely apply. Did I cover everything, Cindy?
I don't know. Let's just check. I've got a couple things here. I think you might have, but let's just look here and see what happens. So I think you did kind of roll through what are the key things from chairing the budget and finance to doing these duties. So that was super helpful. And then the timeline starts to become the as we do at the local network, and we'll discuss, but applications by Women's Council open up 90 days before election. So we may see these open up at the end of May from the 25th to the 30th, because the goal is to have elections when we go to the August convention. And then same as state liaison, there's a candidate screening that then makes sure that you meet the minimum qualifications. Once that happens, then you are told you're eligible, and then you can engage in campaigning things. And then we hold the election at the August meeting. Right now, the belief is that we're trying to do it on that Monday. So again, if you're thinking of running, as we go through these things, realize, that's kind of the time frame. So this will get decided at our August meeting. So, and then like Mindy said, the what is required for the treasurer in the minimum requirements is the same for the first vice president. The one exception is for if you want to run for president-elect, then you need to have been the treasurer or the first vice president in the last 2 years is what it was. So again, if you're someone that somehow is thinking that, reach out to us. We'll make sure that you get the perfect thing. Honestly, we were thinking that most of you are filling in these other roles here. So thank you, Mindy. That's super helpful. And we'll find out what questions people have at the Q&A. And now I'll turn it over.
Cindy, one more comment. Anybody on this call that decides they want to run for treasurer, just know, just the same as Charmaine said, you will do the job. You'll do it well, because I will make sure I'll stay right next to you and tell you everything I've got. So I just want you to know that you've got Catherine's my binky. I'll be your binky.
And Catherine's not going anywhere either. I know from
That's
working with
right.
Catherine, she's got that stuff nailed. So you couldn't pick a better time or year to have people that really know that role and can mentor our members. So thank you guys both for being amazing. Catherine, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot. Is there anything for first vice president or anything that you would throw in there that maybe, you would add? Just, we have the luxury of having you here.
Oh, thank you. Well, as Cindy said, I didn't prepare anything, but one thing I did want to make clear, many of these roles say that PMN is required. It's not required at time of application. Okay. You have to have your designation by time you take over, which will be mid-November. So if you're someone sitting there that still has a course or two left to go, don't let that intimidate you into not applying, because you'll have until November to complete it. So I hope that's helpful and not a stumbling block at all for anybody. And as far as your path goes, as Cindy indicated, yes, you can jump treasurer and go to first vice president. But as Mindy indicated, and myself, from sitting in that role, it's really important that you do to get the full perspective. So not required, just a best practice. And if you are considering trying to do that, my door is always open to answer questions and counsel you accordingly. So, and the number one thing Cindy said, and we heard it in a seminar we were together years ago, we heard this speakers say that men will apply for anything if they're like 50%, close to 50. They don't even have to be at 50%. Women feel like they have to be at 99%. So, you know, do your self-assessment, but don't be too hard on yourself. And everyone here on the screen is here to mentor you and encourage you. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's move to, oh, you did. Let me see. Okay. Oh, so now we have Lori Ann, who is going to share with us about the district vice president role.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Cindy. Truly appreciate the opportunity to get to discuss this important position today. I would say that the district vice president is essentially the intermediary between the state and the local network, almost like a two-direction informational vessel under the state liaison's leadership. It is an extension of state leadership. And then if I had to describe it in 2 words, I would say a DVP is kind of like a consensus builder. You know, these are some of the qualifications as Cindy has listed here on this slide. They're pretty status quo, you know, from most of the other positions that have already been discussed. But again, it is really kind of that, you know, that kind of go between, and it really is an important, you know, as many people have mentioned, even Charmaine mentioned, these are some leaders of our favorite leaders, types of favorite positions, I guess you would say, of all time, you know, as they kind of work through their leadership journey. So again, if you know, as the member, you have to be a Realtor member in good standing. Your experience must have past state or local network leadership experience, ideally have been a local network president. And your PMN designation is encouraged, but as Catherine pointed out, is not mandatory. And you must have served on a state committee or project team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, what's interesting about that is those that have been a network president oftentimes are serving on state committees, and you can now see strategically how the state does a good job of helping you get those qualifications behind you on that path. You might have thought, why am I on this committee? Why am I on that committee? Besides the exposure, they're thinking ahead as how can they set you up for success. The other thing that for those of you, I know we have several of our LEAP class members in here. And again, hopefully what you're seeing and learning is some of those opportunities as we start rolling into next year. If you're interested in serving on some of these state committees or project teams, you know, it's a great way to get experience for as you move through these positions. And so again, I think what I've learned from my friends on the screen that have all been district vice presidents as I've watched them over the years is it really, in each of these roles, they said it without saying it. There are minimum qualifications. However, there's no substitute for having the experience of the roles that you're helping through the process, because you know the job, you know the challenges, you were there. So again, I'm a big believer that each step of the way, don't shortcut yourself, you know, take each step in the journey, do your best, do it to the fullest, and then go to the next one. And you'll find that you have this foundation that you're building that supports your success. You're not building on weak pilings or pillars. So again, I think I heard that from all of you, and I couldn't agree more that there's so much to be learned in the journey that each of you show us every day. So now for the rest of you, I mean, if you, let's go back to our local networks, which is the heartbeat of Women's Council. And I'll just give a shout out first, because Mindy and I would not even be here without Catherine, who actually reached out and she asked me, and I said, I'm not doing it without Mindy. And so again, it just reminds all of us the task is to ask. And what we on leadership identification, our passion is what we want is one, you all that are leading at the local network today, I hope that you are reaching out and encouraging the future leaders. And whether or not this is the year in whatever position they're running for, they get it, knowing that you have people that are supporting you, teaching you, gonna help you makes all the difference. And so as we go to the local networks, right? You've got the president-elect, the first vice president, and the treasurer, and then you have a director of membership and development. And those roles can vary of what the requirements are, but most of those things are requiring that you have been active in the network and that you've learned along that way. I have a personal preference, so I'm just going to share it because I have privilege. But I know that you can have strategic partners be officers on a few of these things like treasurer. You just heard Mindy and Catherine talk about the learning that occurs starting at the network and moving through. And while it might be easier to have a strategic partner do that job, you are really, in my opinion, shortcutting the future viability and preparedness of the people that you have in your network that may want to move forward. So, as we said, we all have the opportunity, and leadership is about failing forward and being safe and being supported. And so I would highly, highly, highly encourage the local networks to first try to fill out your leadership with realtor members. Because as you move forward, and as we selfishly at the state level move forward, we need realtor members to be in those roles. So again, you're going to see the applications roll out about the same time as you heard for the elections are going to happen. And this one will be March 25th. I might have been wrong on the state. State may be May, but these elections this will be rolling out very shortly. Your presidents now, your network presidents, under Natalie's direction, have been getting the election process briefing set up. And so again, that'll be coming. They'll be having their candidate review team at the local level. And then the election goal is to have those before June 30th, because what we have found is if we know who the leaders are for next year, we start rolling into the convention and we're able to break out and really start working with and training, and you get to network and build your peers to help through the process. If you're a membership director, you're working with other membership directors. If you're a first vice president, you're working with other first vice presidents.
Okay, Cindy, can I just
Yeah.
jump in here for a quick
Sure.
second? Okay, so for everyone on this call, I want you to look at the job description. If you're thinking of moving to the state positions, I want you to look at the job description for the district vice president, the state liaison, the treasurer, the first vice president, every position. Well, you cannot look at president-elect and president, but look at those positions. And that is where you need to put your work in to make sure if you're thinking of moving into any of those positions, you are prepared. You need to look at the description, look at the criteria, right? And what does it take for me to serve in that position? And prepare yourself, educate yourself for your future.
Thank you, Charmaine. And I would just add one thing that I experienced, and again, people have shared with me a similar, of all the leadership roles I've held, being the network president was the one that required the most support, the biggest team. You don't have staff. And I say that to say, and Catherine will tell you that I told her when they first asked me to run, was getting the support of those around you, building your team. And it comes from exactly what we're talking about. It comes from encouraging others. It comes from helping others grow. And so I would just say to you, wherever you are, like our lead class or other people that are in that process, or maybe you're a membership director and wondering where you're going next, or where those of you, I promise you, the president has a title, but it is truly the position that you need your team behind you. And so whether you bring them in, like I got Mindy to join Women's Council along the way, or whether you're, pouring into those things are so important, and they will make the experience so much better. And again, you will find that that's an important piece. So I would highly, highly encourage you to do that.
Cindy, can I add something too?
Sure.
To Cindy's point about the treasurer, I feel exactly the same way. We're talking on the local level. And not that there's anything wrong with having a strategic partner, but by not putting a realtor in there, the strategic partner can't go any further. The realtor can. Okay. So you're taking a ground zero training. And I think the reason that strategic partners or affiliates were allowed is because it was just such a big job. It was so much. You had to learn QuickBooks. You had to reconcile the bank account. You had to come up with reports. And it was more than the average realtor wanted to take on. It's enough to make you run for the hills. Well, that's why we instituted the optional bookkeeper services. And now that Renee is working with the networks, we're up to 20 networks out of 28. That local treasurer position is more of an oversight. You're working with her. You do not have to know how to use QuickBooks. You don't have to reconcile the bank account. You don't do the statements. She does that all. Now, am I saying it's no work? It's a panacea? No, I'm not. You're still responsible, but it's more oversight. And it would be my hope that you would convey that to your membership, for anyone that's sitting out there saying, I'm afraid to do it because I don't know QuickBooks. You see what I'm saying? So that's a big piece that has changed, and please make sure your local people are aware.
That is such a great point, Catherine, because again, in the past, it really was a lot to ask of members. I have a business, I have an S Corp, I've been 20 years in the business. I pay a CPA to do my stuff. So I'm not a QuickBooks guru. So again, but I'm smart, I can figure stuff out, I could oversight with someone's help. So I do think that, a lot of people did a lot of work to make that, a better. And I apologize because I misspoke. So it's not a strategic partner that can run for those roles. It's a national affiliate.
national affiliate.
So just for clarification, it's your national affiliates that can hold those roles. But again, ideally, just remember that leaders made here, it means doing the work and pouring in and helping people. Now, the first vice president in the local networks is going to be the one that oversees their election process. And just so you know, if you are someone who is not running for a local position in the network, then you might reach out to your first vice president. That might be an opportunity for you to see how that candidate review process works, and they might be looking for people for that. So there's also opportunities with the audit committee and things like that. So as you're looking and you have interest, or you're thinking in the future, again, all of us today have shared with you things that to be aware of, and it's part of the learning process. But reach out and start getting those experiences so you don't feel overwhelmed. You do have that confidence when the time comes. And so that was the bulk. We hit it at 40 minutes. Yay, yay. Thank you to all you amazing women that are currently leading our state. And so what we're going to do right now is I will for a moment quit sharing, and we'll open it up for questions. So raise your hand if anybody has a question that you want to ask or clarification. You've got some of the brightest minds and best leaders in the country here in Florida. Yes, Carlos, go ahead. Oh, do I have to unmute you?
I did.
Oh,
Okay. No, I just had something in the way of it. So I have a question about the NAR committee to apply. I did, and it kept giving me an error. So I'm interested in doing the safety committee for NAR and the safety committee for the state. So I was getting an error message. I don't know if there's any tasks that I need to do prior to, or if maybe something's not right on my profile or something like that.
awesome. So that is a great lead in to everybody here. Mark your calendars for April 1st from noon to 1. We are going to have our third LID webinar that will be totally focused on understanding and applying and strategies around Florida Realtor positions and NAR positions. So you are about a week and a half ahead on me, Carlos. Reach out to me and I'm happy to Zoom with you and see if we figure it out. But this way today we were gonna keep everything around the leadership opportunities at the local and the state level for Women's Council. So I
Okay.
appreciate your initiative and I'll look forward to
Oh,
having
well,
you.
I apologize.
No,
But April,
not at all.
I would probably reach out to you prior to, because April 1st, I'm doing my instructor's class to be a safety instructor. So
Uh-huh.
I'll reach out, I'm going to be in class for 2 full days, 8 to 5.
Sure,
So I'll reach
sure,
out to you prior to, and maybe I can get some one-on-one.
sure.
All right.
Sounds
Time
good.
for that
Thank-
meeting?
Okay,
The
anybody else got
times?
questions?
Cindy,
Um,
do you have time for that meeting?
Oh,
Well,
it's from noon to 1. It's gonna be
Okay.
sort of a lunch and learn. Grab your lunch and we're gonna go through it. And we
Okay,
will record it. So if you're not able to do it, I would still sign up because they'll send out the recordings to the people that signed up. And I do have my handy documents put together of like things I've learned that hopefully can help shortcut for you guys and we'll get some other people. And Jessica, when you say you'd like to serve on a state committee, are you talking Women's Council?
Sorry, that's not me. Somebody else is logged in with my link.
Well, good. They're signing you up for all kinds of stuff. That serves you right.
So the applications or the documents should be sent out, I think soon. I think Denise and the team, Catherine, Mindy, think they will decide how soon they will send out the application for committees. But normally that go out before August conference, I think, right, Catherine? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
usually
you can
before August.
August. So you can look out for that, and then you can apply for the committees that you are requesting to be selected for.
Awesome.
Cindy, if I could address a couple of questions that were in the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
To serve as treasurer at the local network level, one must be a national affiliate. And how do you determine if they're a national affiliate? They will show up on your membership roster from national. So that means they have paid national, state, and local dues to be a part of your network. So a strategic partner you think of as a business. A national affiliate is a person. So that has specifically signed up with your network. So always look at your roster when determining eligibility for the positions where national affiliates can run. The other question concerning state committees, project teams, Denise will be sending out information as the year progresses along with her team. Regarding serving at the state level, there will be probably a form that can be filled out somewhere. We like to think it goes out before the August conference, but a lot of times that doesn't go out until early September. But usually right around the time of Leadership Summit is when that gets sent out.
Awesome. What other questions you have? put in the comments, give me a yes if you're considering running for something in the 2026 year. Might be local, might be state, might be national. Awesome.
Charmaine, we better see you say yes.
Um, I want you guys to know that part of Natalie's charge to me this year and my passion is to help you on your journey today and hopefully even help prepare you for the future. And so again, you have a lot of people that are willing to do that. And what I would say is one of the other ancillary benefits I hope that this webinar does is help you get an understanding, whether it's now or in the future, in the positions you hold in Women's Council, when you have an opportunity to vote for these different positions, that you're better educated about how we will be well served and who is the most qualified, who can do the right job, who do you feel like, you'd want to work with when those things happen. And because each of those ladies that you heard from and each of those leaders you heard from would tell you that there is work. And so it's not a popularity contest. Hopefully I love them all, so that would be easy for me. But do us just like anything, do your due diligence, understand who would be good to serve in those roles and what experience they have, and what's their personality like? Will they be someone that will make our local and state network stronger? Because again, that is how we move forward. So super excited to see so many yeses. And one last call for questions, and then I'm going to close this
Cindy,
up.
just a comment, not a question.
Mhm.
When you're voting, and I'll take it, say, from the district vice president level, you need to look at the members who have raised their hand to step into this position. And then you need to say to yourself, is this person a potential state president? Because that is where that person or that group, they're going to end up on the state line. You need to condition your mind that you're not just voting for a district vice president, but you're voting for a potential executive line member. And is this person open to coaching, mentoring, right? Or mentorship, mentee? Because I know when I stepped on the line, I thought I was ready and I was very confident, but I knew that I needed work. So don't not apply and step in because you think that you might not have what it takes to be there. As long as you meet the criteria, step in and then embrace all the training, coaching, mentoring that these ladies can offer.
And I'm going to build on that, Charmaine. Every position, with the exception of president of my local network, but every position I've had at Florida Realtors, at my local network, at my local association, the state, it's been contested. Okay. I believe it makes us better, and I believe we grow in that journey. So sometimes I hear people say, oh, I'm not going to run if so-and-so is going to run and this, that, and the other. You're shortchanging yourself and you're shortchanging us. And what I will tell you is each time it's made me a better leader and a better contributor in that growth process, because each of us has strengths. And part of being a leader is also understanding where you could grow. And it's kind of like, an iron gets sharpened under diamond gets sharpened or comes through in pressure, right? Coal turns to diamond under pressure. And so this is where you can get stronger in love, in support. And so don't do that. Don't say, well, I'm not running if so-and-so runs. And I will tell you, my number one pet peeve is when people try to orchestrate, like, okay, well, you don't run because I'm going to run. And no, you know what? The members, each of you is so smart and wise about what we need that I trust you. And even when I ran for Florida Realtor Secretary, I was like, the members will decide what they need. And if it's not me, then I will support whoever that is. That's
Of
okay.
course.
And my favorite saying is, and I would love for you to just really take this to heart, is it's not, should you run and not win, like just for whatever, and it's happened to me before, so it happens, you'll realize it's not no, it's
Right.
not now. And so think about that and just realize it. And Mindy, I see your hand up, so go ahead.
So thank you. So I just want to share, first of all, when anybody runs for a position, everybody wins. The membership
Yes.
wins, all candidates win. You may not win the position, but what you win is better, stronger relationships. You put yourself out there. The experience is phenomenal. And I'll share this with you. I've been involved with Stellar MLS. Everybody knows that. Okay, so we had an incoming president that I didn't think was interacting with the board enough, with the members enough, wasn't engaged enough, showed up late, left early, excused this, whatever. I did not like that. And so I ran against this, and I'm just going to say it was a male. And the way he stepped up, because he had a friendly competition, and we respect each other highly. I mean, they're gangbusters in the industry. But the way he stepped up and started engaging with his board and his members and showing up was so valuable to the whole Stellar MLS corporation. And I did not get elected again, but the experience was fantastic for me. And guess what? The Stellar MLS got an excellent leader because he had some friendly competition.
Very, very true. Very true. And that does remind me one other announcement we talked about in our first video. And if you need to watch it, go to the link tree for Florida's council for 2025, which is in the documents we shared. But the national LID applications are now open. So if you're interested in applying and getting on national committees, that, you know, now is the time to be doing that over time. And, you know, just remember your leadership journey, it starts with a single step. And again, it's none of us is guaranteed anything except growth on the journey, but you have the potential to do incredible things. And I believe in you. And I know the other leaders that showed up today for you believe in you. And so what I'm going to ask is that we step in together in 2026 and really make Women's Council an organization of strong and growing leaders, and we can make a difference together. And if I can help any of you, I'm always here. And again, I'm sure these other ladies at the documents, we have our phone number and email. You can feel free to reach out. So with that, it's 2:55. And if there's no other questions, I will let you guys go back to your business at hand. But thank you for showing up. Thank these amazing ladies and thank our president, Natalie, who has a heart for wanting to see our members grow and give them opportunities, including myself, to be a participant. So again, thank you guys. I know each of you has striving businesses, and to come and show up for our networks and our members means a lot. And you're extremely respected, and we always learn when you share. And anything you guys can do for Charmaine as we're rolling in. And when, you know, you noticed in a lot of those, it asks if you've gone to national conferences in the last 2 years. Really start to work and look at those opportunities, because over time, you know, you'll be prepared for what steps up, as well as building relationships to get referrals and build your business and get good insight. So again, appreciate you all. Thank you. This will be recorded and sent out. And any questions you have, just let us know. And we will see you on April 1st. Bring your lunch, noon to 1, and we'll talk about Florida Realtors NAR leadership applications, and look forward to helping you guys there. If there's
Yeah.
anything you can think we do better or anything you need, let us know. I appreciate you all.
And let us build Florida pipeline. Because we need to build our pipeline.